T-Man 978 Chill Review.
Hello everyone, T-Man 978 reviewing Maketoys Manga Mech Series number 2, Rearend, and the Hurricane add-on kit. I'm not going to review the Hurricane add-on kit. That's going to be a separate review. I don't want to make this too long. Anyway, this is their take on IDW Comics Tailgate. Autobot Tailgate. Anyway, let's look at the packaging. To let you know off top, this packaging quality is like that of a tasty cake box. The cardboard is really thin, so it is nothing near like masterpiece quality or anything. But here's the various images right there and all that. So, to give you the full experience, it comes packaged like this. You see the add-on pieces right there. Tailgate's extra head with the crying eyes and his broken legs. And it came with this nasty yellow, dirty looking tape. And the extra sword for Hurricane, aka Cyclonus, is packaged under there in a little baggie. And here is Rearend. He is a person that likes to pose toys. He's a dream. So you already know I love him, because he has so much posability. And look at this. To sum him up really quickly, he has the plastic quality of a current day Combiner Wars toy, where it kind of feels a little bit light and hollow. I mean, it doesn't feel like you're going to break anything per se, but the plastic isn't really heavy. He has the attention to detail because he looks like he jumped straight out of the comic book. The attention to detail of a masterpiece transformer and the transformation complexity of a 2007 deluxe transformer from the Transformers movie. But anyway, damn, this guy is awesome. I don't know where to start first. I think I'll start with his neck. Look at the ball joint in his neck. I mean, that is freaking amazing. The only paint issue I have with this figure is it's bleeding onto his mask right there a little bit, which I don't like. But all these other paint apps and this bomb disposal paint app right there, which is in the, like, I guess that's Comic Sans or whatever, that came out nice. This looks very nice and neat. It did, when I opened it, it had some like molding flesh that I scratched off, which, full disclosure, gave me a KO vibe. I don't know if I'm going to say that later, because the whole beginning of this part of the review got deleted. So now I'm doing it over again. But, man, his shoulders can hinge out right here. Plus there's like a little ball joint in the socket right here, so he can go back and forward. And because this is thin plastic and this is a small figure, you may get detachment right there when you're trying to move him. The outward motion right here that you get right here is kind of hindered by his backpack. But luckily, his bicep swivel. And the biceps are on a mushroom peg, which is reminiscent of Combiner Wars. If I had to be greedy, I would have loved double jointed elbows. The wrists rotate. But one thing that's unfortunate or weird to me, there's a little groove right here. Come on, focus on it. And the wrist, it kind of makes it feel like you can't twist it, but you need to twist it for the transformation. So that's kind of awkward. One thing I absolutely love, there's a ball joint coming from his crotch into his waist right here. So, man, he has all types of swivel. And I love being able to pose him like looking down at his feet or seeing something that's down there. I don't think I have any other figure transformer figure that I can pose leaning like that, which is very, very cool. This upper crotch plate moves out of the way. The ball joints right here allow him to get his hips out like that, but you can rotate him out like this. They can rotate all the way in. He has double jointed knees. The feet are on a ball joint that gives you some good pivot right there, but there's also a hinge, a pin hinge right here that rotates the feet all the way in, so you do not have to worry about ankle pivot. They can rock forward that much and rock forward back that much. I wish that they could rock back and forward more, but as you can see, you can get some excellent poses out of this dude. I mean, it's crazy. You want a good laugh, because that's what this gave me. Here's a comparison to Generations Tailgate. He looks like pure giveaway for free McDonald's trash compared to this dude. I mean, he better, since this guy was way more expensive than $10. $10, it was him and another little Minicon figure, which I couldn't find for this review. But Jesus, look at that. Which one do you think is better and better represents the comic? Oh boy. One thing I didn't go into, he has some extra bit of articulation, being able to look up and whatnot. And like, he can get into poses like this. But it does expose his little ball joint down there, which is unfortunate. I mean, what I like to do is lift his head up and then hinge the gray part of the neck forward a bit to cover it a little bit more. But depending on the angle you want to pose him, you won't be seeing that anyway. He comes with an additional head. Let me give you a close-up on this one first. Or another close-up. I did bring it up to show you that paint splatter. Here's his secondary head with him crying, which does on my copy have paint splatter, so I can imagine that blue paint. There's probably going to be a lot of issues for other people. The head, easy enough, pops right off of that little ball, which is a solid piece coming protruding. You can take this one, and the neck mechanism is actually built into the head. Pop this one on there, and now you can have him running around whining. Like, get him in a nice running pose. These feet are good for stability, but his other accessories, you could just pop the legs off. I don't like doing that, I'm gonna be honest. Take these broken legs, pop them on, and now he has a reason to be crying. Like, could be looking down at his broken legs like, or you can have him like this, dragging himself on these broken legs. They are nicely detailed and painted right there. You can see the shading right there. They look like they can swivel, but kind of feel like I'm going to break them. They do have this, a little bit of soft plastic wires hanging out. And they even have the tire detail all busted and damaged. So that is a nice touch. And if you want to see what he looks like with his regular head, dragging these things around, there's that. Why does he come with these? You got to read the comics. They actually found him like this. When the Great War started, he got his legs smashed and he was buried underground for millions of years. And nobody even knew he was gone. So he kind of has a complex about that. Now, I don't know if this is a lucky coincidence. He has a port in his butt for his transformation, but it can actually fit this Figma stand right there. So you can get him in some nice flight or jumping action poses if you wanted to. So if that one can fit in there, and this can fit in the other generation's figures that have ports in their backs or butts. So I would imagine that he can work with other display stands as well. If I have any complaints, because anything else would be nitpicking, like wanting them to have double jointed elbows and whatnot. He has these open palm hands right here, but these hands are not 5mm peg holes. So he can't hold standard Transformers guns, which is extremely unfortunate. I think it should be against the law to make a Transformer that doesn't have 5mm pegs and can hold guns. Or if they're going to give him smaller than 5mm pegs, package him with guns or some kind of weapons. That should be illegal for a Transformer. But anyway, let me get to some comparisons and the transformation. Here he is with Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus, which is IDW-ish, is what I was trying to say. Here he is with RC, Deluxe Generations RC. Maybe I should bring them a little bit closer. Anyway, that's how tall he is to a smaller deluxe figure, which I guess is about right since he's short. And here he is with Reveal the Shields Universe Cyclonus. So you can get a good idea of what they look like. This is before I put the upgrade set on him. So now, let's get to transformation. Or before we get to transformations, anything that I want to complain about with this guy, he's pretty much perfect. I don't know how well I did at showing how posable he is, because he's definitely super posable. But these hands, he didn't come with any weapons. These hands are too small for 5mm weapons, so that is frustrating. I think it should be illegal for a Transformer, even an unofficial Transformer, to come packaged with no guns. But anyway, let's get this started. You can rotate this hand to 180 on both sides. Go ahead and slide this down. Take the feet, turn them in this way, and bring it up on this peg right there. Now this joint, at least on mine, is very, very tight. Get it like that. Come around, unpeg this off. They tell you to bring this up first. You peg this peg on his foot into his butt where I had to stand at. Do the same thing over here. And this is very, very finicky. Like it's going in there, but it wants to fight you because the joints are so tight. Come on. And while you're doing that, there's another set of pegs in his legs that need to go in the top of his foot to keep them shut. And man, this just keeps fighting me because the feet don't peg into each other. Okay, I got that a little bit stable. Now what you're supposed to do, and this is definitely hard. I thought I was going to be breaking it. You have to rotate his hip right here and make the wheels point downward. Ay, ay, ay. And these edges right here are very freaking sharp. So they can hurt your fingers if you're not careful. This panel, on accordion it right there. And then rotate it so that this goes over top of these pegs that are formed on his feet now. Yeah, which can be easier said than done. Lift back. Okay. So now with everything pegged in, it should stay still long enough for you to finish the rest of them. The head. The head needs to lift up like this. Separate the arms from his chest. And then lift this panel up. And it's weird. The clearance is kind of kooky. You have to tilt the head just right to get that over, and then keep this up like that. And push this centerpiece right here in his gut in there. Lift this forward. Get these pegs into there. After you do that, get these pegs into his blue backpack, which was very difficult for me earlier because things want to come undone. Like I said, this plastic is kind of tricky. How I do it, or the way I was able to get it, especially on this side because it's kind of loose, I twisted it in and like kind of aimed down into that, and if anything pops out, you have to work it back in. But oh boy, he's pretty much transformed. He's transformed into his alt mode. It reminds me a ton of animated Blur, especially right there. If this was all blue and dark blue, it will really look like Blur. And since he's a Cybertronian vehicle, he has no real windshield or anything. There's his bomb disposal detail. Didn't mention that they painted these rims and put a little orange detail on them. He has, I guess you could call it blue tail lights. And like silver lights up here, and I guess that could be lights as well. Depending on the surface, it's iffy about rolling. I don't think it's like a clearance issues. I don't think anything's rubbing down there. It's just these wheels don't really spin that much. I don't know how long that was blurry. Yeah, they don't really spin too much. It could be rubbing, but if you put it on a surface that's completely smooth, it's just going to be sliding everywhere. But it's a decent little car. It's enjoyable, basic. He has no weapon in this mode as well. So I don't know if it really looks like anything too much. Here's a comparison with official Generations Tailgate right here. And as you can see, just like in robot mode, they're pretty much the same size. And they're, no, this, I can't tell. This one's a little bit heavier. But that's how they stack up. Rear end is a little tiny bit wider, but he's not as long. Anyway, in the end, one of the things I didn't mention, it's kind of a different, it's an off-white color right here, which looks very good in person. I don't know how well it's coming off on my camera. It might look different later when I'm watching it on my TV, like I keep mentioning. But the color variation really works well for him. But to keep it 100% honest, when I first opened this thing, this is my second third-party figure. Just like with my first third-party figure, and I don't know if I mentioned that in my Apollyon review, but I got a feeling of, I got this extreme knockoff feeling when I opened it. Like, he had mold flashed on his body a little bit in certain areas. And right here on the front of his legs, I don't know whether it's supposed to look like that, but it still kind of looks like mold flash. But after I took off the little bit of excess and sat down and played with this thing more, all of those knockoff feelings went away. And definitely once I started posing him, I started feeling way better about him. I still don't think that he's worth the amount of money that I paid for him. I think he should be $50 and lower, even with that add-on kit. But he's still an awesome, awesome figure. And what I hate about third parties, they have you by the balls. It's like, do you want this guy who is perfect in damn near every way? Minus the fact that they didn't give him guns. I wish he had guns. Or you can go with this cheap piece of crap that Hasbro's selling. Well, anyway, I really love it. I wish it was cheaper, but I do recommend it. Stay tuned for my next video, which will have me putting the add-on kit on to reveal the Shield Cyclonus. Anyway, until next time, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you want to see more from me, please subscribe. Like if you like this video, so everybody else can know that this is a likable video. Comment. T-Man978, out of here.